I hereby call the Brockton School Committee to order, it being time after 7 o'clock on Tuesday, May 2nd in the year 2023. I would please ask us to rise and salute our American flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If I could read the following into the record. Welcome to the open meeting of the school committee. This is the agenda that will be discussed this evening. Please note the hearing of visitors is included, limited to 3 minutes per person. If you have a statement or question, please give your name to the secretary. In addition to attending, the public can view this meeting via television on Comcast Channel 98 and also on the 1071 HD version, and online via the following link, which is www.youtube.com/TheBrocktonChannels. At this time, I will establish a quorum by calling the roll. Mrs. Sullivan?
Here.
Mr. Homer?
Here.
Vice Chair Ehlers?
Here.
Mrs. Rivas-Mendez?
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Here.
Ms. Azak?
Here.
Mr. Sullivan?
Here.
And the chair is here as well. We have established a quorum. Agenda number 1 is hereby concluded. Agenda 2 is hearing of the visitors. And it's my understanding through Mrs. Campbell that there are no hearing of visitors tonight. So we will move on. Now, I'm going to respectfully ask, we have some distinguished folks here tonight. Former Superintendent of Schools, Robert C. Jones, is here tonight. Former school committee member that served on this board, Ozzie Jordan. Former school committee that served on this board, Dennis Ianeri, who served 20 years on the school committee. So I would respectfully ask that we take Agenda 4 under subsection A2, which is Mr. Robert C. Jones' message of appreciation. I'd like to take that out of order at this time. If there's a motion, please.
Motion to approve taking Mr. Robert C. Jones out of order and putting him first.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chair Ehlers. Is there a second? There's a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Mr. Jones, welcome, welcome, welcome. We want to just thank you for being here tonight. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. Thank the good Lord I'm here. My will to live is stronger than my will to die. About 6 or 8 months ago, excuse me, my doctors told me, Mr. Jones, you may have 6 months left to live. I said to him, BS, I'm here. I'm looking at Neil Thompson's article, New Brockton School Superintendent presides over volatile era. Thank goodness that volatile era seems to be gone. Thank you to the school committee. I can't see the names. Would you please, each school committee, tell me what ward and your name for the record for me, please?
Kathy Ehlers, Ward 1.
Cynthia Rivas-Mendez, Ward 2.
Tony Rodriguez, Ward 4. I proudly preside over the school naming after yourself, sir. It's a pleasure to be in your presence.
Joyce Asak, Ward 6, and I'm actually your son's neighbor.
Timothy Sullivan, Ward 7. Glad to be here.
Mike Sullivan, Superintendent of Schools. Honorable Mayor Sullivan. I'm going to read from the script.
Mr. Jones, we also have a Ward 3 and Ward 6.
Excuse me.
Sorry, Jared Homer, Ward 3.
Okay.
Judy Sullivan, Ward 5.
Oh, 5, sorry.
I come before you this evening to once again express my gratitude for unanimously voting to name the beautifully renovated nursing home on 596 Summer Street in Brockton, Mass. into a first-class facilities for students who need smaller classes to thrive. However, I stand on the shoulders of those who came before me, who made Brockton what it is today, a vibrant community grounded in the past. And how many cities can boast of the following? An ambassador to Ireland, Ambassadors Claire Cronin. 2 boxing champions, Rocky Marciano, changed his name to Marciano, and Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Medal of Honor winner, Lieutenant Fox, who, during Second World War, was in a church tower. His troops were down below, and the Germans were advancing. In case you didn't know, he called the artillery on his own position and was killed. Brockton has a Medal of Honor winner. I believe he's buried in a cemetery in Abington. Tuskegee Airman Ray Baker, also I believe the first African-American to serve on the police department as a detective. I knew him and his family well. He once told me he didn't once. He told me he was a member of the Tuskegee Airmen. However, when he got to Alabama, yes, he didn't make it because, as a pilot, because World War II ended. However, he considered himself a Tuskegee Airman. Thomas Edison, for those who didn't know, selected Brockton to change, if I'm not mistaken, according to Aussie, AC to DC on the corner of Lincoln Street, Wantello, and School Street. I'm bringing all of this from memory. So you have to bear with me at 91 going on 92. I think I'm doing pretty good for a young man. Shoe City, Tamor Shoe, King Size, and there may be others I can't remember. W.B. Mason, when I sat before the subcommittee and recommended W.B. Mason probably in 1968. It was an office supply company. I said to Joe Green, who was in a wheelchair, I said, Joe, I hope you bid on the contract for teachers' desks. He said, okay, I recommended him. Thank goodness, all of the teachers' desks in 1970 when we opened up, were in place with supplies on it, and they were put in place by myself and Arthur Osha over a long period of time. I remember Joe with fondly. Burgess Pest Control. Ockers, when I first started with them, they'd been on the computers from IBM. They were a storefront on Main Street with typewriters. Now I see them on television, technology. They started when I started because I recommended them for the bid. Why? They were local companies. They were Brocktonians, and they deserved the honor to provide equipment and material for the school. I'm looking at the carpet. Has it been changed in 26 years? It has? Looks the same to me. Mike, you might tell the custodians, don't use water when they clean carpet, please. Anyway, Montelia's Bakery, White's Bakery, Mayor's Lucy. I remember him fondly. If I'm not mistaken, he was Claire Cronin's granddaughter. I remember when we had a huge storm in 1941 or 2. He cleaned Main Street in one day with a green machine that had a thing that rolled the snow into a bucket, took it somewhere, and Main Street was as clean in one day. Mayor Lucy. Other mayors, Mayor Downey, another man I revered. Mayor Crosby Building on 43 Crescent Street was named after him. And I want people to know, since this is going to be on the record, that these are the mayors I held in high regard. Mayor Farwell, he had the nerve to call me the night before I had turned in the day after I turned in my retirement papers and Matt George. He called me up, he said, Bob, would you be superintendent? I said to him, are you out of your mind? I said, after that school committee beat me up all the time I was here, hell no. And then I thought about it at night. I said, Bob, you never turn down a challenge. The next day I said, okay, Win, I'll take it. And the journey began. Carl Pataro, Pat, his wife, we graduated from Bridgewater, 1960 together. He was another wonderful mayor. I'm going to speed up things. Dodd Donovan was the city auditor under my regime. I'm looking at Aldo. You've come a long way since I last saw you. We had to send over to Dot Donovan at the end of the month the school budget that I was in charge of. For 3 years, I asked for Mr. Anthony Luitini, Anthony Luisi to be my deputy superintendent. I never got him. He was a wonderful person. However, with Marie Fernberg, Cynthia McNally, Susie, please forgive me, I'm trying to think of these things from memory. Liggy Suzadelis, Sue Duquesne, Willie Wilson, that helped put together the strategic plan. We were the ones that were able to get 90% reimbursement with others who helped us for the Plouffe, the Angelo, the Dr. Renone, the George, and the Baker schools. I don't know if we'll ever see 90% again, and you may never see the likes of me again, because I call myself the Renaissance man. Vertec Construction, another homegrown outfit. I'm going to move along. The Shields family and the MRI. Stadelman Electric. These were all new companies when I started. Political figures who committed themselves to public service. How much time have I got?
As much as you want.
Good, I'll take all night. Linda said to me when I said, Linda, that's Mike's secretary, I'm sorry, the mayor's secretary. I said, Linda, where's the school committee going to be? Little theater or in Romm Little Theater or the unknown? She said, Mr. Jones is going to be in the Romm Theater. I said, good. I said, how much time have we got? She said, you take all the time in your world. I said, good, I'm going to do an Irish jig. I always used to think my grandmother was Irish. Her name was Emma O'Teal with apostrophe. Later on, I learned that it was Emma Point O'Teal. She was not Irish. She had plenty in her, though. I digress. The lawyers, Lawtons, the Credens, the Piscatellis, homegrown people. Some I favored, some not so much, but they were Brocktonians. Senators Mike Brady, I don't know if he's here. He was wonderful to me. Tom Kennedy. Representative Christine Canavan. Claire Cronin again, I think she was the rep too before she became. School committee members Dennis Erie, Mo Hancock, Scott McDuffie. When they came out and told me and said, Mr. Jones, we just had an executive session. You have a choice. You can resign or you can retire. I looked at Mo, I looked at Dennis, Scott McDuffie. I won't tell you what I say because I'm still a gentleman. I said to the school committee at the time, I said, I'm going to retire. I said, I refuse to work with the school committee where the votes were always 4-3 against me. I said, I can't hold them against them because they didn't know any better. I said, but for 37 years, I gave my blood, sweat, and tears. I'm going to retire. If I'm not mistaken, the next day, the Enterprise had a headline, Robert C. Jones, school superintendent, forced to resign. I couldn't resist. If you're Italian, you know what I meant. And I stayed on. I'm going to move along. Colleagues and co-workers. Dr. Claire Appling, I hope somebody recognizes her with a statue or plaque somewhere. She deserved better than what she got for a while. She passed away recently. She was a wonder. I used to meet her at the football games. We'd stand at the gate and we'd chat about the school committee. She would say to me, Bob, she said, they didn't treat me well. I said, never mind, Claire. I said, in the end, after 26 years, somebody will recognize you. And I'm looking at Mike directly and the mayor. Somebody will. Joel Sullivan used to give me fits But when we first negotiated the first contract, I can't remember the company we had, but Joe was wonderful. I think highly of him. Dr. Zach, you know who I'm talking about, former principal of the high school, a bedrock and a great Brocktonian. Vin Macrina is here. Maestro, sta bene? Sta bene. Every Thursday night, he beeps his horn when he goes by my condo on Foundry Street. And he said, Mr. Jones, come sta? Buonasera, buonasera. I said, Vinny, professore, maestro, come stai? And then he would be on his way to teach in Sharon somewhere. Vinny, grazie. Frank Saban, Margaret, Jim Lazor, one of the best basketball coaches we had. Victor Ortiz, God rest his soul. Gigi, where are you? I need my tissues. Grazie. That's okay. Gigi and I stopped by Victor Ortiz's home in the summertime. I said, Gigi, I want to talk to Victor. So she got out of my car, she rang the bell. Thank you.
Thanks, Judy.
She rang the bell. Victor, he didn't come to the door for a while, and then finally, I said, Gigi, we got to go, and he opened the door. He was on crutches. Mr. Jones, I rolled down the window. He said, Mr. Jones, he said, I'm sorry it took so long. Thank you. He said, but I fell and broke my hip and my leg. He said, it takes me a while to get to the door. He said, when I get better, I want you to come over and visit me. We'll sit on the deck, he said, and we'll have a beer. He said, and we'll remember the old times. It didn't happen, but I remember. Armin Colombo graduated in 1949 with me. Great football player, great family. He was on the 49 team that went to Florida and beat the Floridians. I can't remember their names. His son, Peter Colombo, followed in his steps. Mike, Mayor Sullivan, what a decision you made to name Wiggins, I think that's his name, as a football coach to follow in the steps of Armin and Peter. As they say, hoorah, thank you. And then Harry Allen, great track coach. Thank God they named the track after him. Tom Richards, I remember him. Is he still with us? I hope. No? Yes or no?
No.
No. His daughter, though, I think she's the head.
Yes, she's here.
Hoorah. Tony Cabral and his wife, Conchetta, taught with me at North Junior. Made him the science head at Brockton High. Ken Cadone, housemaster here at the high school. He sees me at the bank, or used to anyway. I don't go there anymore. And every time he saw me, he said, Mr. Jones, thank you, thank you, thank you. I said to myself, why is he thanking me? He was a housemaster. I named him principal. I think of South Junior High. Wonderful man. Charlie Crivellaro, again, a school principal, superb. Bob Casey at the Downey. Mr. Hogan at the Kennedy. Who can forget him? Broke my heart. Passed. Excuse me. John Scanlon, wonderful. Pat Morano, art department head. Vin Macrina, I mentioned him already. Reva Castelline. Glenna Riley. Who can forget Glenna? She was a bone stuck in my craw, but boy, was she a champion for me. And Nelson. Let me clarify something. In June, the last of Mohegans, I say, Tufts is going to honor me with the Tufts Hall of Fame, 2023. I plan to be there. I want to set the record straight. I once said that Ed Nelson, who was superintendent of schools, refused to let me become a teacher. And he said, Bob, you have to get your master's degree. I said, here we go again. The color of my skin denied. And then I said to myself, the hell with you, okay? I went to Bridgewater, got my master's degree, as all of you know. And then later on, I said, you know, Mr. Nelson, he did me a favor. He recognized that even though I graduated from Tufts with a degree in sociology and a minor in biochemistry, I didn't have the equipment or the ability to become a good teacher, and he knew it. Superintendent D'Antuono, Ed Nelson hired him as superintendent. He was responsible for going to Cleveland and for bringing this high school to Brockton. I don't know how many people know that. That's why we have the Four Houses Administration Building. When Farrell called me one night, he said, Bob, how come the Fine Arts Building is here and the FIDES is over there? I said, when I remember, I think it was a matter of money. The architects, Gilbert and Associates out of New York, put the Fine Arts Building here because it would cost less than the phys ed building over there. That's my recollection. Anyway, between the two of them, that's why we had the high school. And for the record, because I had to prove to the state, when I went before them asking for the 90%, for the 5 schools, 2 I didn't mention, the George and the Baker, this high school cost $16.9 million in 1970. In order to equip the school, I had to go before the school committee. I had to ask them for $2.8 million. The school committee said, $2.8 million? What the hell do you need that much money for? Why can't you take the equipment from the old high school and bring it to the new high school? This is what I remember doing. I can't tell you what I said under my breath. I said, sir, I said, we can do that. I said, I'll have the custodians unbolt the desks at the 1915 high school on the corner of Warren Avenue, and we'll bring them to the new high school and bolt them to the floor. That's all I said. All in favor of $2 million, every hand went up. What power they gave me then, and I took the ball and I ran with it. I did all the bidding myself, wrote the bids, posted them, recommended to the subcommittee what the bids were. I even made a sheet. I don't know if Aldo, they still, you don't do the bids though. On the City Hall side, who writes the bids for the mayor?
Procurement, Mike Morris.
Mike Morris? Does he still hold the record for the 100-yard dash at 10.8?
I think he does.
He does. Good for him. Tell him I ran 10 flat on a cold track at Brockton High, a cinder track. No, I'm sorry. Once at an MIT, we had a dual meet. I'm boasting a little bit. At my age, I can afford to do so. I ran 10 flat for the 100-yard dash on a coal-fired, they used to put coal on the track. That's what we ran on. I got to keep going. Ed Matter, what could I have done without him because he served on the committee? Wonderful man. Bill and Chicky Faraday, the reason I had the meeting on April 4th, and I'll repeat myself because it's on the record, I chose April 4th of this year to have the unveiling of the Robert C. Jones building for 6 reasons. 1, my mother was born on the 4th. Second, my Gigi, my trustee, can I trust you? Yes, was born on the 4th. My youngest granddaughter was born on the 4th. Chicky Faraday's youngest son, God rest his soul, was born on the 4th. I chose that date and the time for a reason, 11 o'clock on the 4th, because I knew that your superintendent and the mayor had their hands full because Brockton was in the news, fires, murders, a couple of kids that died, and I said to myself, 11 o'clock. I don't want any fanfare. 1 hour, then they can go back and do their business. 1 hour to tour the renovated school. Sue England, the principal, and I said we were done at 2 o'clock. I didn't do it for me. I did it for Brockton and the mayor and your good superintendent. I want everybody to know that. I chose the day. I chose who would be there. 2 people. I wanted Ossie to be there, and I wanted Jean Rocky, whose wife was the daughter of Ed Nelson, to be there. 91 years old, early stages of dementia, drove up from Bourne to be there. And he was in this, I told him, Gene, I said, I want people to remember you because he graduated from Brown 1953 like I did. He went in the went in the Navy. He became a Navy pilot. He said, Bob, he said, I flew Hornets first, and then I flew jets off of the USS Hornet. My mouth dropped open. I said, you did? He said, yes, I did. I said, Gene, how did you handle those jets off of the aircraft carrier? He said, Bob, I flew 100 sorties. He said, I didn't have to fly the jets in Vietnam because it stopped before I had a chance. What a class we had. He was a wonderful guy to come up like that, and I wanted to have on the record. 1949, he was a great football player. 1949, he went with Army Colombo to the South. I'm running out of gas. My PT guy told me how to breathe. Mr. Jones, he said, breathe through your nose, breathe out to your mouth. Thank you. Lily Thompson, one of the 2 people I hired, people of color. Debbie Kulik typed my records for me when I worked on my EDD at BU. Kathy Sexton worked with me at the Old Sprague School, which was on the east side. That's where our main office was. Marie Fernberg was my right-hand person. Cynthia McNally carried me during all those dark days when I had to fight the school committee at the time. Lou Simonkiewicz. I wish I could talk to Lou again. He's Ukrainian. Dave Kimball, I trained him too. John McCarthy, great guy. Charles Willey of Harvard worked with the strategic plan. Owen Bienauer was the architect for the 3 schools, not the 2 schools, the Baker that came after me. Marie would say, Bob, those 3 schools are yours. I would say, Marie, you're correct. I'm almost done. Bear with me, please. Sue Kess, Licky Suzadelis went with me when we went before John Silber, the State Board of Education. I had to go before them to present the strategic plan. Excuse me, may I have a drink of water? Yes, Mr. Jones, you may. I need something stronger to keep my tongue dry. When I went before the board on April the 4th, I said to the people, I was ready. I practiced the night before. Beautiful blue striped suit. Somebody's wearing it. Willie isn't here. But I said to Willie, I'm not going to be here too much longer. I said, all my good clothes I bought from Saks Fifth Avenue and Bloomingdale's, I said I was going to give the Salvation Army. But Willie said to me, Bob, he said, there are needy kids, homeless kids at the high school. I said, Willie, that's where my clothes are going to go. So some young kid in Brockton was wearing those $395 Jones of New York's shoes. I couldn't wear because I have hammer toes. Broke my heart. But somebody's wearing them because Willie told me there's a place at the high school where they give away clothes. Some of my clothes still had the tags on them. Never got a chance to wear them. Eventually, I bought myself a double-breasted navy blue jacket. That's the only thing I wouldn't give away because I'm going to wear it. I believe in June when I go before the Tufts Hall of Fame. Hoorah! Ossie Jordan, Willie Wilson, Tom Trask, Tim Trask, what could I do without you? Gigi, please stand. Thank the good Lord she's with me. And her husband, Manny Araujo. Did I pronounce it correct? Araujo. Araujo. Lois Millman, 92 years old, strong. Her daughter called me today, a good jumbo, and said, Bob, she got through her surgery, aortic aneurysm. She came through. The last I saw Lois, just before surgery, like this. I said, the strong will survive. Unfortunately, I also got bad news this morning. Andy Howard was on the track team at Tufts. Daughter told me he passed today. God rest his soul, may he rest in peace. I'm the last of 4 of us on the track team. Jack Gold is gone. Andy is gone. My good friend in Georgia is gone. A good hurdler who was on the track team. Dick Lawrence is still alive, 92. Billy Collins, 92. We're going to meet again, God wills it, in June. My neighbors, Diane Trickchuk, Lisa Patronis, Nate Ferravilla. When I was too weak, when I came out of the hospital, I had to learn how to walk twice. I was too weak, I got upstairs. 4 neighbors I called on to sling me in a chair. 3 days later, I was walking on my own. I'm going to run through the next names very quickly because I'm running out of gas. I got my gas back. Brocktonians, the Hancocks, the Zoinos. John called me, said, Bob, you need to run for superintendent. I said, who needs it? The Zoinos. Millett's, George, and his son George, great football player. The Matters, I mentioned Eddie. The Daly brothers, twins, I had as students. Whenever I need capable carpenters, they would do it for me. When I heard the Mike say there's $2 million in the budget for computers, I went like this. I went, oh God. When I started with computers in 1970, I bought Apple Plus that I tried to put together with myself with O'Malley by hand. We put them in wrong. I threw them in my trunk, drove them to Newton to repair them. Those Apple Pluses, I think they cost us maybe $100. How much are they today?
$400 or $500.
Can't believe it. Anyway, I digress. The Connies, Dick, my son's good friend, Dick Carney, wonderful man, and his brother, who is the welder. And one of the lights at the Brockton High has my name welded in the top by one of the Connies. They'll be there forever. How do we get those lights? $200, Scott McDuffie. We brought him in a flatbed. The next guy, Dickie Smith, dug the trench. He put in the wiring for it. Electricians in Brockton put them up for a cost about $300. I was always looking to save money for the school department. The Smiths, the Georges, Matt George. Previous to me, I can't say enough about Matt. 10 years he was superintendent. Before he retired, he said to me, Bob, he said, please, would you take the desegregation plan and run with it? He said, I can't take it anymore. The school committee beat up on me. He said, I can't take it anymore. I said, Matt, yes, I will. The Bakers, what can I say about them? Mary Baker, wonderful. She worked with me 1960 to clean out Bay Street and the other place, Crescent Street Court, I think they called it, so we could renovate the building for all the African Americans, some 2,000 of them, many of them who've lived there. And that was my beginning. She worked with me, and we got it done. There are others who work who I can't remember. The Marrows, I can't say enough about Jean and Bo. They were like twins, and every time we came here, Marie and I, when Vinnie Macrina had his jazz group going, Marie and I would slowly walk down. We'd sit down in the orchestra. Jean and Bo would be in the mezzanine underneath. He'd say, "Hi, Jones." I could never understand why he didn't call me Bob. He always calls me Jones, but it was his sign of respect. We sit in the seats, and Marie would say to me, "Bob," she said, "I can't stand these seats." I would say, "Why, Marie?" She said, "Because Dave Kimball, these are his seat, not yours." He said, "They were built for 16-inch. He said, "Today's behinds are 18 to 20-inch. He said, "Someday, maybe they'll change them." So whoever, I don't know whether you're going to build a new high school or going to renovate. This is directed at you, Honorable Mayor Sullivan. Are they going to build a new high school, or are they going to renovate this one?
It appears we're going to renovate it for $500 million.
Thank you. The Shanks. These are African Americans that welcome me in their homes or in their hearts when I first moved here. The DeGraces, the McAllisters, the Bernards, Steve, Peter, and his father. We lived on Johnson Square for years, and I could see Mr. Bernard now with wearing his gray fedora, straight as an arrow as he went up Foster Street. Wonderful family. Frankie Gentile, detective, wonderful man. The last time I saw him, he was in the hospital. I could hear him. "Where the F is my meal?" he hollered. I said, "God love him, that's Frank." He was in bed. He saw me. We hugged. He said, "God damn," I said, "Gee, damn it, where's my meal? It's cold again." I said, Frank, I said, "They're doing the best they can for you. I don't give a bleep." He hugged. I said, "Frank, take it easy." He said, "Thank you, Bobby." He said, "You were very good to me." I said, "So were you, Frankie." George Carney, the fairgrounds. I had hoped someday they'd build a new high school on the fairgrounds. It's not to be. If it weren't for him, I don't know if Brockton would be where it is today with the fairgrounds. It's on the map. The Hurleys. His father is buried in the same place where my father is, World War II veteran. The Columbos, the Pettys, the Sergios, Barbara Duffy and Paul Patentis started with the Champion Charter School on the corner of Montello and Main in a building on the top floor. Do you remember it, some of you? Maybe you do. I'm going to stop now and say thank you for allowing me to bear my heart. All of the above people made April 4th, 2023 possible. Any names I mention are fine. If your name's not on there, it was not intentional. I try to bring everything from memory. I valued everybody's support during my 37-year career in Brockton. It is my hope that I can establish somehow a Bob Jones Foundation with a $100,000 scholarship going forward to help the 3 top students in my school, Robert C. Jones Building, who are going to a 4-year college of their choice. I already offered 2 current students on April 4th $5,000 each in 2024 when they graduate. And once they graduate, I also told Sue English I'm giving them each $1,000 each to buy books. That might buy one book, as I understand it today. However, I hope they make use of it good. In addition, I hope that all my acquaintances and friends can establish a Bob Jones Remembrance Walkway leading to the school with either brick or stone with their names if they contribute. That's just a wish list on my part. It may not come to be, but when I went to the Miriam Hospital in Miriam to have my PCNs changed, which I'll do next Monday. If you don't know what PCNs are, you can Google it. Unbeknownst to you, my kidneys failed. My oncologist recommended I go in hospice care. I can't thank him enough. Being stubborn Jones, I said, to hell with you, I'm not going on palliative care, I'm going on hospice care. One of the best decisions I made in my life toward the end. Wonderful, wonderful people. I always thought, hospice care, you're going to die, you pull the plug, 6 weeks, 6 days, you're gone. I misunderstood and I misinterpreted. I want everybody to know, on hospice care, you can go a year or two, and I believe it. And I may do just that. I'm looking at the school committee. They're saying, why the hell doesn't he shut up? Because the mayor said I could go as long as I want. I had to get it off my chest, people. And here's the best part. I said, perhaps these people can contribute whatever they can, anywhere $100, whatever they can do, for each stone, which will go toward helping the school and the students in the future. I'm going to finish with this. Today, as in quote, a life well lived comes slowly to an end. I am proud, very, very proud, to tell anybody, anywhere. A mayor appointed in New York, the hometown of Denzel Washington. I don't have his looks or his money, but I still have his swagger. He has that way he moves, and I still got it. I tell anybody, anywhere, I'm a champion of champions. I may have been born in New York, spent 10 years in Boston where I learned the sophistication and the conservatives of Bostonians, but I bleed, and I bleed Brockton, and I'm a Brocktonian at heart, and I want everybody to know it. And I conclude, I've been blessed in many ways, but this evening, on the record, I want publicly to say how grateful I am to each school committee member for this honor tonight. From the bottom of my heart, to all Brocktonians, thank you, thank you, thank you. And to my mother and father, who were champions in their own right. My sister Audrey, whose husband is a retired lieutenant colonel in the Air Force, a chaplain who celebrated the life and death of over 1,000 of the fallen at Arlington Cemetery. When I learned how to walk again, they said, Mr. Jones, do you want to hear the last rites? I looked at the nurse, I said, are you bleeping me? I said, I'm not ready yet. I had a dream last night, and I dreamt that God said to me he said, Bob, what are you doing here? I said, didn't you call me? He said, no, I didn't call you. I'll call you when you're ready. Go back where you came from. And I chuckled, and I chuckled, and I said to myself, I'm going to fool everybody. I'm going to stay alive as long as I can. And thank God I'm pointing this out, for Methodist Beacon Hospice Care of Fall River. They're wonderful people. And with that, I conclude. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Mr. Jones, we truly want to thank you for what you've done. You're an educator at heart. It's in your fabric. You've educated countless and countless of boys and girls. You've made Brockton a better place for those that you have worked with and those that have worked for you. And I know Ozzie and Dennis, on behalf of the school committee, may want to say a few words at this time. Ozzie, would you like to say anything at this time? I know Dennis does. He already told me.
You know better than to give me a microphone. Anyway, Bob and I have established a good relationship. We've talked about a number of things that he mentioned. I was on the school committee, as you know. There was never a bus that moved in this city. Always wanted the kids. This is a blue-collar city. Kids need to be transported. The business with the books, the chairs, all these things over and over again. You've got to go ahead and give the kids the best you can. I would say hold on that high school and go on and wait and build a new one, because you can't retrofit something and make it work for today. We should be thinking it's going to be, 4 or 5 years before it probably be done? 5 years? I mean, that's ridiculous. By then, it's time to tear it down. And we're spending all that money for what? So even if you had to start, as it originally in some of these places, with just a little piece, and then go from there. Bob has been wanting to do this for I don't know how long. I was around when the things were happening with the school committee. I knew the night before that, actually, when the decision was made on what the next school was going to be, whether he was going to stay or not. That was the first thing. The second was when they named the new school of the two schools. I knew what was what. So that night, a couple of people got on my case because I presented his name, not to try to knock who was there. I knew who was going to get it, because those of you who work on these committees, you already know what's going to happen. So I put Bob's name up then so that this could happen now. This is a person that's worked very hard for this system and still hasn't received what he should receive. He hasn't. You think he talked now? He could spend days telling you all the things. I'm going to get down. I told you, don't give me a microphone.
Try again. Yeah, give me a chance. Takes me a while to step down now, too, is the retiree, but, you stay there? Yeah, sit down, Vinny, will you? I do want to take, and I did want to take time to say a few words about Bob, and I had texted the mayor this afternoon, and I heard through some grapevines that they were going to be doing something for him, and I did want to be a part of it. And just so you know, Bob, that all those colors that were selected in that new building that is named for you, which I'm very proud and pleased to see, because everybody was trying to decide what would happen. And I think it was Mr. Sullivan came to visit me one time, and he said, do we name it Mayor Sullivan? He says, he's only been mayor for 3.5 years. We can't do something like that. 30 years from now, we might.
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, you're good. See? That's what I thought. But in picking the name, and I found out that they were giving it for you, I thought it was the right thing. And I was part of working with the contractors through our superintendent to make sure that they painted it the way that Mike and I wanted it painted. Versified of what some of the other administrators wanted, but they listened to him. They don't listen to me anymore. Forget it. But I do want to just mention a couple of things, because I don't want you going like this to me, because I'm too old for it. No one listens to me anyways. You know how it goes. But they don't listen to me anymore. They're listening to you now, see? And it's the way it should be. And I have to say one thing. I came here in 2000 and, what did I come in? No, excuse me, I came in 1980. I left in 2004, but from 1980 on, and I came to be a school committee member, and that was under Tom Whalen and Matt George, and I can name the same names. I'm not going to unless you want to share your paper with me. No, you don't want to go that route. No, because they want me done anyways. But I said all the times that I had as a school committee member, and I was a Brockton born, education here in the city of Brockton, George S. Payne, East Junior High School. How could I not remember Aurelio Raymond? And he used to think you were the greatest thing, he says. And he used to say one thing about Bob Jones: works morning, day, night, and even during the night. Am I right? You were one of the ones who used to go out with Joe Pluff and measure the snow to make sure there was going to be school the next day. That's how it went. It's not like now. The superintendent's is home doing that like he's doing now, see? I might get away with that. I don't know, because I'm helping a little bit on the staff, so he might say, "You're out, huh?" No. But I do want to say your history was tremendous, Bob, because you mentioned so many names just with me sitting there, and every name you mentioned, I had the great opportunity to work with. And like I said, I wasn't college bound, but when I got off the school committee, I had the greatest education that was ever taught to me by people like you, Matt George, David Crosby, even though he was a mayor that he didn't waste time, and everything got done. And there's so many others, I don't want to mention them, but I do want to continue to give you credit, because it was the desegregation plan that we put together, and had a hell of a time putting it together because of that school committee you spoke about. I don't want to say names either, but Barbara Barbarelli here, I hope not. God, no. We had trouble with that one, remember?
4-3 votes.
Yeah, and I was one of the 3. And that was the worst thing I wanted to do. You know why? Because we were doing a desegregation plan. For what reason? Why did Matt leave? Because our numbers were off, and he just couldn't handle doing it. But in the intake, you went, and what was the gentleman's name from Harvard? Do you remember? Dr. Charles Willie. Yep. He took, God rest his soul, but I always remember the night when Mr. McDermott Sr., so I thought he was going to tear him apart, and he said, "Listen to me, young fella." And we said, there goes the 3 schools and at 80% back to the taxpayers, and we're going to lose this. But we didn't, though, because of you. You went to the State House. You went to the State House with some others and said, "We want this." And that was the beginning of those 3 schools, and the other 2 schools as well. But the 3, we got our names in them. You, me, everybody, the Pluff, the Unknown, the Angelo. I'm apologetic for the fact that you weren't a part of the George school as you was with the Baker, but we did start it, but they didn't. The other school, the committee came in, didn't know what to do. So I just wanted people to know, and when we had to take that vote, it was the wrong time, because you were the person that we needed to be in there, because that's when we started to change the system here in Brockton. Everything changed, and you deserve that, and you deserve that. So I don't want to go on anymore, because then the mayor's going to kick me out, but his history is, I don't know. I save that paper, because I want that in 20 years too, so I can read it, huh? But you were a perfect gentleman, and you always will be, no matter what. And I won't forget you. RCJ 9. That's right. Can I have that plate? No. Oh no, I'm DRE, so it doesn't. Oh well. You tried. Okay. That's how you. Bob, thank you. Thank you for everything. I'm out of it now.
Dennis, thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't know,
for allowing me a few
I didn't know
minutes.
if
You're gonna let him
Mr.
talk.
Green, if you wanted to share anything right now, real quickly.
I think we've heard it.
All right. Buongiorno, signor. Buongiorno.
One more thing. Mike Thomas, thank you so much. When Gigi graduated, I got out of my sick bed and I went. And Mike Thomas said to Willie Wilson Jr., Willie, we have to do something for Mr. Jones. Thank you, Mike. I called up Mike one day and thanked him for the parking lot. And he said, Mr. Jones, he said, COVID-19 brought in a lot of money. I said, thank goodness. I tried for almost 26 years after I retired to get that parking lot paved. Before somebody tripped and sued the city, Mike got it done. With the help, thank goodness, of a mayor, city council, school committee, all of it came together at the right time. Again, from the bottom of my heart, I thank all of you for making this evening mine, if you will, and for believing in me all those years that I worked my butt off. Saturdays, Sundays, nights, I put in 18 hours a day. And my neighbor, when I had a beautiful home in Northeastern, and if I'm not mistaken, the ordinances of the city made me move to Brockton or rent an apartment. And I did. So I had a home in Easton and one in Brockton. And a reporter followed me home one night to see if I was living in Brockton or Easton, and I had an apartment on Pleasant Street for 6 months until I retired. Today, the superintendent can live, I guess, wherever he wants to. Is that right, Mike? Not in my day. My, how things have changed for the better. Thank goodness the ordinances have changed. Thank goodness we have Aldo, because when I hired him, did I hire you, Aldo? I think I did, or you were on. Anyway, a couple of secretaries said to me, Mr. Jones, I'm not sure Aldo's going to last. I said, why? He said, he's so soft-spoken. I said, never mind. I said, if he's still here when I'm gone, that means he has the potential. You put together a budget of how much, Aldo? Tell me loud. 100 million?
This year?
Yes.
229 million.
Mamma mia, here.
So we want to thank you again, Mr. Jones. And next month, your induction into the Hall of Fame. Congratulations. Members of the school committee, we're going to take a 3-minute recess at this time. I hereby bring the Brockton School Committee back into order. That was a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to really hear history from Mr. Jones, and we do want to thank him for what he's done and what he continues to do, and his induction next month into the Sports Hall of Fame at Tufts University is phenomenal. So we'll go on back onto the agenda. We are on consent agenda, which is agenda item number 3. There's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. Are there any matters that we'd like to take out? What's the will of the school committee, or would you like to take them collectively? Mr. Sullivan.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to accept items A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Sullivan, properly seconded by Mrs. Sullivan. Before we take the vote, let me just read those into the record. A is the approval of the minutes, Finance Subcommittee meeting dated April 4th, 2023. B is the Security, Safety, Transportation Subcommittee meeting dated April 4th, 2023. C is the approval of the minutes, regular school committee meeting, which was dated March 21, 2023. D is the approval of the 2023-2024 school committee meeting dates. E is the approval of the school closing dates for 2022-2023 school year. F is the approval of 2022-2023 home education request. G is the request for authorizations to submit proposal and expenditures of funds, such as authorization to submit an amended request for the FY 2023 Department of Energy DOE Renew America's school grant in the amount of $6.6 million to the amount of $14.7 million, $14,071,631. And then finally, authorization to apply for additional FY 2023 funding for the BPS Early College Dual Enrollment Program in the amount of $50,000 even. And then lastly, H is the acceptance of human resources notifications, appointments, non-certified personnel actions, leaves of absences, resignations, or retirements. We have a motion on the floor. Is properly second. All in favor, kindly raise your hand. All opposed, raise your hand. It passes unanimously. We'll now go on to Agenda 4, which is the report of the Superintendent of Schools, Mike Thomas. Mike, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. And just to go over again so everybody knows, publicly, the last day of school is now officially June 16th, which is a Friday. We are past the dates where we would have to make up any days. Even if we lost power or something was to happen, you do not have to make days up anymore per the Department of Education. So Friday, June 16th is an early release day for all students and staff, and that will be the last day of school for this school year. Next, it's my pleasure to bring up Mr. Kevin Cardell and introduce him and who he brought with him tonight to represent the wind ensemble. So I'll read this quickly, and I'm trying to go off my phone. The Brockton High School, and I'll have Mr. Cardell, fill in what I don't tell you because I want him to give you more information. The Brockton High School Wind Ensemble came in first place in the band category at the World Strides Heritage Festival on Thursday, April 20th in Philadelphia. This is a nationwide competition of all the best bands across the country. And as you can see, Brockton High came in first, and it's just incredible. So, Mr. Cardell, you can come up, and the students with you, please join him and, give us much more detail about, as that actually happened during the school April vacation. So we want to thank Mr. Cardell and the students for, doing this during his vacation time. And it just shows the commitment to the program and not only by Mr. Cardell and the staff of the music department, but also the students that he works with. So thank you.
Thank you very much. The wind ensemble is made up of 49 students from the 2 concert bands that we have during the school day. These kids gave up 2 hours every Monday night to rehearse on their own. And we went down to the Heritage Festival, which is, again, it's a national festival there.
There we go. It is a national festival. They have 9 sites that they host, and we chose Philadelphia mostly because it was during the school vacation. I didn't want to have to pull the kids out of school to go down there. These kids have never been on a trip because of the pandemic. One of the trips that was scheduled when they were freshmen, it got canceled. So this is the first time that they had been on a trip. We saw a lot of historical sites. Did a walking tour of the city. Did a ghost tour of the city, and walked through the Constitution Museum. Yeah, they're giggling because of the tour guide that we had. He was an interesting character. So there were nine bands that were there. An orchestra, a jazz band, and I think 6 or 7 choirs that were there as well. And we came in first place out of all the groups that were there. So.
Again, simply amazing, the work that's been done. Again, this is just a product of the music department over, as students start all the way from elementary school to high school. So I thank you to Mr. Cardell and all the members of the music department for the work they put in throughout the years with these students. And it's just tremendous honor, and we really appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any questions at this time? Ms. Azak, please.
Thank you, Mr. Cardell, and it's nice to see Miss Sophie Early. I've known Sophie since elementary school, and I'm looking forward to handing you your diploma come June. But Mr. Cardell,
yes,
Superior Gold,
yes,
no flaws.
We got 2. There were 3 judges. We got 2 96s and 1 98.
So, I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
that's pretty impressive for everyone
hard.
that's watching right now. So, we were hoping it was a little short notice, but we're very proud. We're very proud of our students. This is a huge, huge achievement. Again, we do have an amazing music department, and we're always looking forward to attending our shows and stuff. So, I just wanted everyone to know that it was Superior. It was Superior Gold which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Not just we got gold.
They also got invited to this Heritage Festival. They do a gold medal showcase which is it'll be in 24, so it'll be a different group. And one of the sites is Nashville, the other site is San Francisco. And we were invited to participate in that as well. That's going to be a long way and a lot of work for that one, because they take the gold medal ensembles from all the sites from this year and they bring them all to one place. So now that competition goes to that next level. So we got a lot of work to do if we're going to do that.
Thank you. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Always putting Brockton on the map, no matter where we go. And no matter where I go, everyone's always talking about our music department, our band, how amazing they are. And so thank you again. Thank you to your group.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Azak. Any additional comments or questions from the committee?
You want me to, oh yeah, I'll talk about the Pops concert. Our final concert, the seniors' final concert is May 24th. That's our Pops concert, and that's the 4 groups at the high school: the concert choir, the rep chorus, the concert band, and the advanced concert band. And that's when we get to do all of our fun music. So you'll hear some Wizard of Oz, some Disney, some staff members playing trombones, and all that kind of stuff. So please come.
Congratulations once again. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Mr. Cardell. Next, we're going to bring up Dr. Soraya de Barros Montero. She's going to do a presentation on what the community schools program, what they are offering this year for our summer program. So thank you, Soraya, for being here.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here. This is going to be, that's okay. This is going to be very short. You have the catalog in hand, correct? Correct. You have all the information that I'm going to share, so it will be very, very brief. We're very excited to present this the new catalog with so many offerings we have. Here we go. So that's the catalog. We always go by the mission and the vision of the community schools of Brockton. And that is that we want to make sure that we have the best programs that are based on education for the students, that will provide the educational level, the academic support for the students, that also have that enrichment piece to it. We do continuing ESL and adult programs, but this summer, as you know, the buildings are closed, so we cannot do adult programs at night, even though we would love to. And we also have recreational and enrichment programs for the whole community. So this is the mission of the community schools. This is why we exist. Speaking of existing, so we're going right into the summer. Our summer camp will start on June 26th. It will go all the way to July 28th. That's 5 weeks of camp. Last year, we only had 4 weeks, and people were asking for another week. So this year, we put another week in there so that students can be busy, engaged, and we can trick them into learning. Because all of the programs that we have, using one of my colleagues' famous sentence, it's to trick them into learning. All of the programs that we have thought of have the 4 main components of our programming. So we just make sure that our mission statement is always in and it's always on. That's the front of the summer catalog. Most of the pictures in the catalog, those are our students that were enrolled last year that had a lot of fun as well. This is Ms. Cohen's class. She sent me this picture of students being very, very engaged, and the catalog was a big hit. So she took, along with other teachers as well, they took the time to kind of go through the catalog, make sure that students would get excited about what was coming, and also explaining it to the students. So we thank her for doing that. The programs that we have, I'll tell you more about how many programs we have, but in general, the catalog is divided into 3 sections. So we have the paid programs that most of them have been in existence for a long time. We have the free programs. So about 2 years ago, we started a lot of free programs. We used to have 2 or 3 in the past. Now we do have a lot due to the grants that we apply for, 21st Century, due to different partnerships that we have. And also we have the academic referral programs, and those are the programs that are referred by the principals, the teachers, people in the school, so they refer students to those programs, but we also keep a wait list. So just in case we have seats available, we're not going to turn those students away, so we'll make sure that they sign up for those programs. So this year, we have 38 programs in the catalog. And again, they range from being athletic programs to enrichment programs to academic, or to a combination of 2 or 3 of those. And out of those programs, 20 are paid at a very nominal cost, as you know, and 18 of them are free. And just so that you know, for the past 3 years, we didn't raise the prices much because of everything that we were going through, passing through. But this year we had to a little bit, but they're still very nominal when you look at them. So, and you know, some of those programs are, for example, extended day. This year we also have, for the second time, we have the Launch Academy, which is right in the middle in that picture. That's a program that we did in partnership with the bilingual program last year. This year, Community Schools is taking that on. Cooperative sports, that's for preschool students. So we have programs for the whole family, for students in pre-K through grade 12. Online tutoring, as you know, we started an online tutoring during COVID. That was something completely new that we started that has been going now for, I believe, the 30 year, believe it or not, time is flying. So last year we did it on online tutoring over the summer. It was extremely successful. We used the program iExcel. So it's coming back this year again. So we're going to do it. So this way, we're making sure that students don't have as many gaps as they would if they were to go throughout the summer with no help, academic help. And then we have fun programs like Get Ready, you know, all about Get Ready, very fun, youth wrestling, and so forth and so on. So lots of choices for the families. That's the array of programs that we offer, and you can see the focus areas up on top. We try to, again, with every partnership that we have, with every program, with every proposal that we look at, we try to see if the 3 focus areas that we are abiding by, that we live by here in Brockton, that those are embedded in our programs, and they are. One more thing, if you look at the catalog, I don't know if you have had a chance to see everything, all those symbols, that means that the different classes, for example, the different grade levels, pre-K, or we'll have elementary, middle school, and high school, and then you have the signs for free or paid programs, and then if the programs offer busing, or if they have, if they provide breakfast and lunch. So we do all of that. This year we have 9 new programs. Some of them are bigger programs, some of them are smaller programs. So with the 9 programs, we have speaking of music, we just had them here. We have a music enrichment program this year out of the high school. We have one that is very similar that runs all school year that we work with, but we will have it again this summer for the first time. We're starting at a MITA program, that's the dual immersion language, French, at the George. So we wanted to run the Spanish, the Portuguese, and the French. But only the French staff were available, so we're running the French as a pilot this year for the summer and see how that goes. We also have, I don't know if you remember, Footbridge program that used to be out of the Gilmore a few years ago, and it was only for Gilmore students. And that's done in partnership with Bridgewater State University. So we took it upon ourselves to do it again, and we are doing it for all students of Brockton. So we'll have about 60 students of Brockton that will attend this program. They will start the day at the Gilmore School as a central location. They will take the bus. They will go to Bridgewater State University, stay there for the whole day, and then come back at 3:30 and be picked up at the Gilmore. So that's a wonderful partnership that we hope to have. Another program that we have coming up this year is Camp Impact. We're taking that on as well. That used to be in existence at the West Middle School on its own paid by local funds. We're working with them this year. And we have also academic programs like Humanities and STEM for grades, students entering grade 9. And then we have Learning Acceleration Camp, also for students in middle school. So this way, we help them with give them the academic support. So there's lots of programs coming up. Unfortunately, as you know, we had to cancel the kickoff. We were very excited. It's like I just mentioned it to someone, that it's like preparing for a wedding. You kind of prepare everything, and then it gets postponed, or it's very hard to undo what you had done. So that was a bummer. Because of the weather, we cannot do it. However, we have restructured the whole day to have a registration assistance day. And that's only for people who either need help, language support, or who also don't have a computer at home and they need help, and they will come and we'll help them. So only be our staff and the bilingual community facilitators at West Middle School to do that. Like I told you, this was very brief because you have the catalog in front of you. So, and where do people register? We passed out these catalogs to all students, pre-K through 8, and the staff as well, because we wanted to make sure that the staff would share the wealth of offerings that we have with the students. So we passed those out. But for high school students, and because they are more, they are on electronics, technologically speaking, they do well, they know it all. So we have the electronic version, which we have asked all the principals of the high school age students to share the information with the students and their families, where they can get the electronic version of the catalog and still be able to register. So registrations will open on May 10th, which is next Wednesday. And we had to do that because of the kickoff, so that we would have time to process all the information, all the ones that we're going to have this coming Saturday. So registrations will be on May 10th, and they will go until the 31st. And after that, it will be, and of course, we'll leave the registration open just in case, but it will be on a wait list, first come, first served. But then placements will be done June 1st to the 9th, and program assignments will be on the week of June 12th. So the week of June 12th, the families will know what programs the students will be attending and the times. And like we did last year, we have an orientation for parents. So this way, parents know who the supervisors are, what buildings, what bus, what time they have to be there. So we did it last year. It was extremely successful because we didn't have anybody lost the first day. Everyone knew where they were supposed to go, who they were supposed to contact. They had the phone numbers and everything else. So it worked out very well. So needless to say that I hope I sound excited, because I'm excited about this. Again, it's a grand endeavor. It's a huge thing, and we're up for the challenge. So we can't wait for June 26th. Actually, I told someone else the other day, I said, I have passed the summer, so I'm already in October of 2023 as we plan. So, but things are good, things are well. Please pass the word. Like I said, it was very brief, but if you have any questions, I'm still here, and you have the catalog and you have our contacts. Thank you.
Any questions at all for Doctor? Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Soraya.
You're welcome.
Next up is the approval of the school year 23-24 calendar. This is, you've already approved the actual calendar with the vacation days and the days off, the start date and the end date of the school year, and obviously the legal holidays. This is actually the professional development calendar, and also the calendar, basically that's the in-service days for professional development, and also you're approving the dates for the parent conferences at all 3 levels. I do want to say that we've heard parents over the last few years, especially elementary parents, where we've had a total of 16 professional development days and half days for elementary, which was really a burden on students and families, on the parents. That has been reduced to 10 at the elementary level. And then where we could, the in-service days are now all pre-K to 12, where will be an early release when the high school and the middle schools do not have as many in-service days as elementary, but when they do, the in-service day will all fall on the same day. So the whole system would be released early, which helps parents that have, students, children in high school, take care of their younger siblings at home, where a parent doesn't have to take the time off from work. So not only do we plan the reduction in the number of half-days, because we did get a lot of complaints, especially at the elementary level, has been reduced, but also that it's going to be pre-K to 12 when we're able to do that system-wide. And then you also have the half-days that are in here for parent conferences. Yes.
Thank you.
Oh,
Mayor.
I'm not supposed to call
Oh, it's
the
okay.
mayor. That's fine.
It's okay.
Sorry.
So, and just a reminder, so once it's approved, when does it go out to the families? Because as a reminder, the first day of school is going to be after Labor Day, because we did listen to the parents' concerns, and it just makes more sense that one day does make a difference for a lot of families, rather than keep moving it every year. People like to plan their vacations, especially the last vacation of the summer. So we do have the first day of school as being for grades 1 to 12 on Wednesday the 6th, and the teachers come back on Tuesday the 5th. But so when does this go out to the families?
It'll be finalized, it will go out, and then to print, it will be posted on the website right away, and then we get the printed version will go out, but the website will have them all. And then the printed version
Just so for
goes
those
out.
that are making arrangements, they know that they have
Yep.
that extra weekend.
That has already been posted, like you already approved the vacation, legal holidays, when the vacations fall, the start of the school year, the end of the school year, that has already been put out to parents. This is the full calendar, includes the only thing that you haven't voted on is the professional development and the release days for parent conferences. So that's the difference between the two.
And we're closing for the election days in September and November. So I see
Yes,
that the
so that's why
September
you see
date
us
for the
going-
19th,
Yes, you see that day, the
then-
19th being a no school day.
and then the 7th is it going to be just, it says in-service family school conferences,
For November 7th,
correct?
that's staff PD. So we're
Okay,
closed, and that's when we do the ACT conference. EDI runs their ACT conference.
yes, that was wonderful last year.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Again, it's safety, so at least we don't have school open on those 2 days. Do you
Correct.
need a motion, or?
Yeah, that needs a vote.
Any other questions on this? Then we would entertain a motion to approve as stated. Is there a motion?
So a motion to approve the Brockton Public Schools calendar, including for 2023, 2024, including professional development and conference dates.
Motion's on the floor by Ms. Azak. Is there a second?
Second.
Second made by Mr. Sullivan. All in favor, kindly raise your hand. All opposed, it passes unanimous. Thank you.
Next is the approval of the summer schedule for school committee meetings. So the two dates that are on the table, we have one school committee meeting in each month. And obviously, you could call subcommittees if need be. But the two official full school committee meetings proposed now are Tuesday, July 11th, and Tuesday, August 15th. Those are the two proposed summer dates for the two official school committee meetings.
Any questions on that? If not, I'll entertain a motion relative to those two dates.
Motion to approve?
This motion made by Mr. Homer. Is there a second on that motion, please? Second made by Mr. Sullivan. Again, this is the motion to approve the summer schedule of school committee meetings. And again, as Superintendent said, it's dated July 11th and August 15th. All in favor of that, please kind of raise your hand. All opposed, raise your hand. Passes unanimous.
Thank you. Next, I just want to introduce, before I jump to the budget, is our new administrative internship interns this year. I want to thank the BEA for something that's been in the contract and in the system, is the administrative internship program, which pretty much I was a part of and pretty much most every member of the administrative team here was a part of, and it's been in place for, I think, over 40 years. It's in the contract, and it's been a great program. And this year, we have 2 administrative interns. I want to thank Dr. Moran for the work HR does with putting this together with Kim and the BEA and going through the process. So I want to welcome, and in the back, I'm going to ask them to stand, Dr. Abigail Jansen has served as an ESL teacher at several middle schools and currently the district's middle school language acquisition coach. And we also have Nicole Thomas, was an integrated teacher for 8 years and now is a moderate special needs teacher at the Baker School. Both interns will be working out of Office of Student Support Services, and they also spend time in schools as well. So I want to welcome both Nicole and Abigail. I want to thank, again, the school committee for always working with the BEA to keep this program going, because it does help us grow our own. So next, did I miss? No, that's under. So next, as we had our budget finance meeting earlier, so I just want to say a few things as we went through page by page to look for some cuts. So a lot of people have asked, how did we get here? So basically how you got here is you basically look at me, the superintendent, because over the last 4 years, I've added more staff than we ever had. Right now, we stand at 3,100 staff members full-time, which is the most the school district has ever had. I'm not going to apologize for that. I should have cut 150 last year. I didn't, because I didn't think the timing was good, and I took a chance that our enrollment would go up. I will not apologize for investing in people and believing in people. Unfortunately, I have to recommend layoffs, which is not something I want to do, because I oversaw the hiring of these people, and it helped us bring diversity to our teaching and staff throughout. And it helped us stabilize the district in a very difficult time. As you know, COVID sent us all for a loop. We came back, when we came back to school, hybrid and remote, we thought that was a nightmare, and it was. But then when we came back last year full-time, it was worse than hybrid and remote, because none of us were ready to come back. And at that time, I didn't feel that it was a good time to cut people. So that lies with me. I will not apologize, and I don't think the school committee should apologize for settling very fair contracts over the last 3 years. Very fair contracts where we pay people a wage that they deserve and they earn every single day. But that's a big increase. I mean, if you roll the district over from this year to next year with the same staff, it's a $21 million increase. I will not apologize for that, because people should be paid well, especially in the times we're in now, where everything's so expensive and the work that they do is so difficult. So it's important to remember those things. And I've also read about, we had all the ESSER money and you wasted it. And I've seen that posted and put around. So if we wasted money on the $1 million in security we spent last year at the middle schools and high schools to keep people safe, with all that we had going on, I will not apologize for. I will not apologize for us purchasing 130 buses and vans and starting a transportation company used with ESSER money. That allowed us to, the city will save millions for that over the next several years. I will not apologize for us going to the county and getting ESSER money to buy Summer Street, which was from the county in ESSER money, to give our students who are at the old Brockton High a brand new school. And it's something that is incredible for them to be in. I'm not going to apologize for adding school police officers in a very difficult time as we see what's going on with school safety. I'm not going to apologize for the thousands of laptops we had to buy, because this, unfortunately, during the down years, we were not ready for COVID and remote learning, because we had 8,000 laptops at the time for 15,000 kids. And we needed to spend millions of ESSER money to get everyone a laptop, so we could do hybrid and remote. We spent hundreds of thousands on Wi-Fi devices to get families that did not have Wi-Fi Wi-Fi in their homes so they could actually participate in learning. I'm not going to apologize for the $3.5 million we spent on Wonders 2023, which is our new ELA curriculum. I'm not going to apologize for restructuring the district and following the recommendations from the district review to keep this district away from receivership. And we're moving more and more away from DESE being involved in our district. The mentors we put on, the programs we ran, the behaviorists, the social emotional support that we put in. People forget this, but the $1 million in air purifiers we spent to make sure everybody was safe when they came back to school. The millions in PPE we spent. The millions, hundreds of thousands in furniture when we had to keep people 6 feet apart. The thousands we spent on tents so we could have outside learning and outside lunches. You know, these are things people forget, like where'd all that ESSER money go? This is just a few things where the ESSER money went, because it went to keep people safe. It went to keep people employed. We were one of the only few districts in the state during March of 2020 to June of 2000, actually, it was longer than that because we kept everybody employed. Obviously, that's why we have our issue now. We were, with the mayor's help, the school committee, city council, we were the only few districts that kept every employee on the payroll from when we shut down. A lot of places laid off custodians, food service workers, people that weren't doing things that weren't tied to learning. Those were laid off. We used money to basically keep people employed. So, yeah, you blame me for the budget deficit? Absolutely, because I am the superintendent, and it's my job to make sure the budget doesn't go out of whack. But again, I've added 383 full-time staff over the last 4 years, 224 of them being certified staff, the rest being non-certified, and obviously we've lost 1,323 kids. And I didn't do the 150 layoffs last year because I figured maybe our enrollment would go up. It didn't, and that's the position we're in now. And I obviously take full responsibility for that, but I will not apologize for what we spent our money on. I absolutely will not.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Any questions for the superintendent this time? So just for practice purposes, we would be having a special meeting next week, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll continue to work with, we laid out a lot tonight of cuts we recommend from pretty much operational cuts, and we're working with Kim on changes to Edison Academy with getting them full-time staff, which would save positions as well. We continue to work on seeing who's retiring, who's maybe resigning, to find out, where we can save pink slips as well. I do want to announce publicly that there will be no retirement incentive this year for anyone. We just did not have that extra money to spend because we spent more, again, we spent a lot on out-of-district placement, which is up again last year. Another thing I won't apologize for, the last thing we want to do is put students out of our district, but when a student needs that kind of support for their mental health issues, we have to do that. It's not only the ethical thing to do, and it's also something that has to be done for the safety of all, most importantly, the students, and the student that has to go out of district. So those are costs that all comes due. But we are looking at everything, and this, that we gave some proposed things tonight that we can cut and save. I think it was close to just over $1 million. We continue to work on other things we can cut. Again, we're looking at how much administration can be cut back to save classrooms and teachers, and obviously save paras and people that work directly in classrooms every day. So all those things we're looking at and continue to do so. So we really, next week we'll have a special meeting, we'll have a finance and then a school committee meeting to actually do the final vote on how many RIF notices that allows Dr. Miranda sent out. So she'll give you an update on because you say you're gonna, if you say you're gonna have 150, sometimes you have to over, because you have people coming back on leave, so we're trying to get really deep into those numbers now to, figure out what the exact number of slips have to be. There's also people on different lists. So if somebody has a certain certification and they have seniority, they could go from what they're teaching to teaching something else if they have that certification. So that's a very difficult job that HR has, and they work closely with Kim on making sure. But we're doing our best to save as many people as we can. Myself, Ms. Azak, Mr. Sullivan, Mrs. Sullivan, we went through some real bad years with, Kathy had to deal with a horrible budget, and this was in the funding formula, the old ed reform was broken. And it was Brockton who led the charge in getting this new Student Opportunity Act. Back then, we would lay off 300-400 people almost every year, and then money would trickle in because they knew the funding formula was broken. So June, we get a couple $1 million more. In August, you get like another $3 million. And then over the summer, you get a few more, and we were bringing people back. And that continued to happen. And it went on for 6 years, I think. And we had to send 200 to 300 notices out every year, and it killed the morale of the school system. Not saying these cuts don't hurt morale, but the difference now is the funding formula has been fixed. There is not much more money coming. If the only money that could come is help in out-of-district transportation and out-of-district tuition, but we are being funded under the Student Opportunity Act appropriately. So if we don't do the necessary cuts now, I fear, like the position I put us in this year, because I didn't recommend cuts last year. If we don't do enough this year, it could double next year. And somebody asked a question, I think it was Kathy, about what about if enrollment keeps declining, where would we go from there? And I'm hoping that's not the case, hoping finally we stabilize. That's not what they're predicting, but we're hoping that with the great programs we have and the amazing teachers we have and the things that we have in place, that we can stabilize tuition. But that's the situation we're in.
Any questions for the superintendent? Ms. Azak?
Not really a question, but I just wanted to echo what the superintendent said is Mr. Sullivan and Mrs. Sullivan and myself have sat through some pretty bad budgets, and I really wasn't looking forward to this budget, knowing that there are sleepless nights. It's very, very difficult when you know you have to lay people off. We're doing the best that we can. You might see things on camera, but behind the scenes, we're really working on this, a lot of us, with BPS and with the superintendent, to try to, make things a little easier as far as the layoffs and stuff. But this is new to some of our new members, and it's a tough one. This is probably the worst budget I've sat on, and I know they were getting worse and worse and worse, and then COVID hit. And then that was just too good to be true. And where we didn't have to lay anyone off for 3 years? Probably 3 years. So we appreciate the BPS staff. We really do. It's a difficult time for all of us working on this. So I just wanted, I've heard from a lot of people reaching out, and it's a tough budget. We're going to do the best that we can. So, teamwork. We've gotten through it before. We'll find a way to get through this again. But thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Azak. Mr. Sullivan, please.
Yeah. Yes, just one comment and one question. Mr. Thomas, I think you did a fabulous job last year. I just wanted to thank you. You did what you had to do, and we were behind you 100%, or at least I was. And the question is, there's a special meeting on the 9th. What time is that?
Oh, so we'll do proposed, we would do a 6 p.m. finance and then a 7 o'clock school committee meeting. Or we could just do everything in full school committee. We don't have to have the finance. We could.
Yeah, whatever the will of the committee is, we could either do just one, or we could do the sub and then the full, like tonight. What's the will of the committee?
I'll make a motion.
We can just do the
full.
one full.
One full meeting.
Do you want to start date at 7?
If we could do 7:15, I have to attend a bilingual PAC meeting at at the Unknown at 6:30, just to talk to our bilingual pack with, Kelly Jones and the bilingual department. They
Give you
always
enough
invite
time to
me,
get
so
back
if
for
we could do
7:15? Does that give you enough time, or do you
Yeah,
want
that'll
7:30?
give me
Gives you enough time?
Yep,
Is that okay?
7:15 is good?
next
Next week.
Tuesday.
Yeah. Want to do 7:30 to make it easier?
7:30, all right. Thank you.
And then Superintendent, did we need to meet for facilities?
That should be the week after.
Because we could try to put it before, if we're going to be here anyways next week. For those that are on facilities, we can probably, going to squeeze that in.
Yeah, you could do that. I won't be able to make it, but
No,
I would.
that's fine.
Yeah, we could have Dr. Cobbs and be here for you. Yep.
Could do that. You could do that at 6:30.
Yeah, because I think you still have to review the neighborhood health center proposal, so Peter will have to come for that as well.
Attorney
So,
Mello, yep,
yes.
you're right, yeah,
Yep.
okay. Melinda, did you get all that? Okay, great. Anything else for the superintendent relative to FY '24? Vice Chair?
I just wanted to, Ms. Azak's right, like the sleepless nights, but I do want to make sure that everybody that's watching understands that even though we are struggling to try to preserve staff, we've done a great job, and I give credit to Superintendent Thomas and his team to preserve all our programming. So even though we are looking at a loss in labor, we are still keeping and holding on to all of our programs. And we just saw a wonderful presentation by, Soraya about what we're doing for community schools over the, summer. And so those programs and the support that they provide for families is extremely important. And for us to be able to preserve that is equally as important as trying to hold on to staff. So I just want to point out that we have, it's a double-edged sword. We're going to lose people, but we're holding on to as much programming as we possibly can to support the city, the children, and parents of those children. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional comments at this time? We will move on to the next agenda item, which is still under the report, but it's items to refer to subcommittee. Are there any matters before us tonight?
Yeah, so facilities.
Just
Facilities?
And I believe Mrs. Campbell, rather than be rushed, Mrs. Ehlers, is 6 PM better than 6:30 to allow enough time? Then 6 PM would be the
Yeah,
facilities?
and so we would ask that, we know we have to have the neighborhood health center. Peter has to come back and tell you about that bid process.
Yep.
But then anything else you want to let the chair know what you want on that agenda.
Yeah, she wasn't sure if an hour would be enough.
Yeah, I think an hour is plenty of time.
That'll
Was it
give
a
you-
6 o'clock start?
6,
6
but that
to
gives
7,
you
and then
some
we're going to
leeway.
meet at 7:30 next
Yeah,
week?
so if it runs
Okay.
over, you'll have that extra time.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Mike, anything else on your agenda?
My agenda
Okay.
item's done.
We'll
Thank
go on
you,
to
Mr.
number
Mayor.
5, which is unfinished business, discussion and potential vote, Enforce 911, real-time threat alert notification software. And I know Captain Hallisey is here tonight. Thank you, Captain, for being here. And I know there is a handout that everybody has as well.
So I'll let, actually, Ms. Azak and Mr. Rodriguez, we were at the demonstration last week that was attended by Captain Hallisey, actually both Captain Halliseys, Lieutenant Livingston, the Chief Perez, and we did this full, they did the demo for us in the conference room of Enforce 911. I'll let Ms. Azak and Mr. Rodriguez explain how it works and what it provides for us for safety and security, and then we'll also go over the pricing.
Okay, so Enforce 911 originally came out and presented to the Safety, Traffic, and Transportation Subcommittee on April 4th. And a few of us had asked to see it, see them actually see it in use. So we met last week on the 27th, and Brandon from Enforce 911 and another gentleman attended with him. So what they did is they set it up on the superintendent's conference room television to show us. So they showed us the presentation as a BPS employee, say a teacher or a staff member, and then they also showed us what the Lieutenant Livingston was seeing on his cell phone. So no sooner so the way that the setup is, for those that didn't see it or are not familiar with it, is say I have on my computer, I have the app open and something's going on in my classroom, or I see something happening, rather than, run to a phone or try to, page down to the office, you can either go on your laptop or you can go on your cell phone, and you can either alert. You can alert the principal, you can choose who you want to alert, and the alert will go right to them, and if it's a 911, it will go right to the police department, and it was within seconds. Within seconds, Lieutenant Livingston had gotten the alert on his phone, and then we had seen them already connect online on the computer. So why are we looking into this? Because a lot of times, things are happening, and it's a safety issue. So, and it just made more sense, because if something's happening, it's faster to have them communicate directly with 911, with our Brockton Police Department, but our admins, our principals, our staff will see that. Those that are selected on the app, they'll see that something's going on. Obviously, if something's small, you're not going to call 911, but if you need to get a hold of the administrative office, administration, or a principal, you can click on the link, you can type in your message, and they will see it right away. Like I said, it's within seconds. They'll get the alert. If it is police and they do call the 911, you're talking to somebody directly right at Brockton Police Department. Chief Perez was there, and a few others from the department were there. And it's pretty impressive, given that it's faster than grabbing a walkie-talkie, the two-way radios, and trying to call around to get help. This is a tool that I think is going to help our teachers and our staff in the schools, especially if something's going on. You can alert, say, hall monitors, or, sometimes if you want to do a discrete alert, rather than, you see something going on, you suspect something's going to happen, you can go ahead and send out the alert to those that you click on. I wish we had it here, but for those that have the handouts, like I said, you can click on who you want to alert. And same with the superintendent. When he has, if there's an emergency, this will also help with us, is we can get the alerts too. So it's going to be at all the schools. I think we narrowed it down to 23 schools? And administrative office, correct?
Administrative office, warehouse.
Do you mind if we have the captain come up?
Oh, sure, sure,
Captain?
absolutely.
I think that mic's on, Captain.
Yeah, from what my knowledge of it is that we're going to get access to information quickly, critical information that we need to do our job. The teachers are going to have a much safer environment, and the students are. So I think this is a great idea. Hopefully we'll never have to use a lot of this stuff, but if we do, we're going to be ready for it.
Definitely. Like the 911 aspect of it, hopefully we don't have to use that, but it has other features that the schools, I think, have been asking for to help them communicate better with, if there's an issue, they can, rather than call down to the office and explain, you type it up, the message goes right there, they know what's going on, you can communicate back and forth. Same with, the apps can go on your phone as well.
You can also, if obviously you don't have time to type, you just hit the button on your
voice
computer on
record.
the app, and it just sends because it will come from the computer where the teacher's located and know exactly where an issue is, or any staff member.
So I know we're talking about budget cuts, but you can't put a price on safety. You just can't. And to me, this is small money to give the tools to our staff to keep our students safe and to keep everyone safe. So the company, Enforce 911, had, cut the pricing pretty drastically. So they had, you can see in your packets, the 24, they have it at, the discount's $1,200 for 24 locations, is that, Superintendent? And then 8 locations, would that be the administrative? 8 administrative offices that are $1,000. And then 1 would be the police department. So
And
you
City Hall.
And City Hall. So you're looking at a $37,800 to give access to all our schools and our administrative buildings and City Hall, to be able to alert the police department. Like I said, it was seconds. I was sitting right next to Lieutenant Livingston, and it was pretty quick, and it was impressive. The only other thing is originally we had negotiated, they wanted a 3-year contract, and we're like, okay, why don't we do a 5-year at this price? But today, we actually reached out to them, and we asked them if we could do a 5-year contract, but at the end of the 3 years, we can either opt out, or we can stay within that same price point and go for another 2 years. Because prices are going up on everything these days, so if we can lock into that price point, but say 3 years from now, something else comes up, we have an opportunity to opt out of this system and try something else.
Is it an opt-out with no penalty?
I believe so, yes, yes. So that's, we do have the wording. Let me just see. So he did highlight it over here that this initial contract term shall be for a period of 5 years, beginning upon the date of contract execution, although the customer reserves the right to terminate services after the 3rd year of service with at least a 30 days of written notice. So as long as we give them written notice, again, this is pretty affordable given other things that are out there. So, and they would set this all up, and it would be a go as of what, September, Superintendent? Yes. It would be a go as of September. So we would need to vote on this because they do need to get things going. And I do know that I think Quincy Public Schools has this program right now.
Yeah, I want to thank the captain. I've had many conversations with Chief Perez and Superintendent Thomas about this, and you hit it on the head. There's no price tag to health and safety. We have unfortunately, in this day and age, we have to plan for the worst and hope for the best, but we need to make sure that our students and staff and our visitors are safe at any school building, at any city building. So, I support this wholeheartedly. This is a good mechanism. I do want to thank you, Captain. Aldo, do you have some thoughts at this time?
I have a couple of questions. I'll have to research whether we can do a 3-year that automatically rolls into a 2-year, because they're saying that if we don't cancel within 30 days, it rolls forward. That's a 5-year
We
contract.
can't do a 5-year without council approval anyhow.
Exactly. So I think we have to look at that.
I think we can read. This was a last minute. I had called this morning and just said, listen, why are we signing a long-term contract? Like, just give us the option. You just don't know, with everything, pricing's going up, so you just don't know how much it's going to cost 2 years from now, or at least lock us into some kind of a rate that we could, if we want to continue after the 3rd year, then we can sign on for another 2 years.
We may be able to do it if it's a 3-year with our option to renew without this 30-day clause in there.
Perfect.
We would have to actually vote and renew it. It doesn't automatically go.
Correct.
I'll have to check the law on that with the Inspector General's office, but
Yeah,
I'm pretty
I
sure.
would have Solicitor Bridges on behalf of the city, Megan Bridges, and Peter Mello on behalf of the schools on that. Thank you.
Yeah, I think they were willing to work with us. And the other thing is, for example, Superintendent, if there's a stay in place at a school, couple of clicks on the computer and everyone gets notified, rather than wait to call, Jess, or have someone put out a call, then it goes out to the families. This is a lot faster to go out to the schools, and that way the schools know what's going on. Especially sometimes things happen in the neighborhoods, and we do. It's a safety. We put a stay in place at the school, not that, they're at the school, but we have students that are probably walking home, things are going on. It's just all about keeping our students safe, and good communication. The communication part was very impressive as far as what you could do. And it's a little more involved than I've explained tonight, but it does have a lot of different tabs that you can click on, depending how you want to notify people and what's going on. Like the superintendent can send out notices, and it doesn't even have to be he can notify all the schools of something going on. So we would need to, could we take a vote?
Could vote on approving 3 years.
A 3-year contract.
Then you would just, with the caveat that the law department and finance has to look into anything beyond that. But legally, you can only approve 3. So you could approve the 3-year contract with them tonight, and then basically you would not be voting on anything further than 3 years because it has to be looked into by the law department.
That's correct. Mr. Homer, followed by the vice chair, please.
So the document before us has the language looks like it's the 5-year with the option for the renewal for the 6th. Is it something that I think that's what it said on the.
If you look at the other contract,
Yeah.
the other contract was, originally they wanted a 3-year.
Right.
So we could, I'm sure they'll just do a 3-year.
Okay.
And then we can always put in an option to Renew.
I was looking at the one that has the
Yeah.
yellow highlight on it. That's why I didn't know if we're going to have another meeting next week.
Yeah, why don't we do it
Something
next
that
week's agenda?
we could-
That way we'll have the
can-
law
I
department
was gonna
vetted
say,
out
can
prior
maybe
to
make a
taking a
motion
vote
to-
tonight.
Yeah, maybe make a motion to push it to next week if they have to restructure the language of it.
Yeah, I don't think a
vote
week
that
will make a
time.
difference, and originally it was a 3-year.
Right.
We just thought it would make more sense, given the price of it.
Yeah.
And
The
to lock in the
expiration-
rate.
Yeah, and the expiration date on the bid looks like, or on the offer here, looks like it's the 15th of May anyway. So if they're still willing to restructure the language in the contract or something, if we could look at that next week, that might be better. Just one question on two things. Sorry, the source of how this came to us, like, was this something we were looking at to replace something that exists already? Is this something
No,
that we
right
had to-
now, we really don't have anything that exists like this. Basically, we have the radios, the handheld radios that not every teacher has, a staff member that can call directly to 911. We do not have a current app that allows people to send 911 messages or any other message of to others in the building or system-wide. And like Ms. Azak was saying, if so there's a bank robbery at a bank on the east side, what the police do is they call each school on the east side and say, you got to go into a stay-in place. And this way, what they do is the program sets up a geographical fence. So if there's an issue at this, it will, okay, what school, then automatically will contact the schools within, because we have run into issues where the community bank was robbed on the east side and nobody let Spellman know, and and it was going the opposite way of the Downey, so the Downey wasn't notified, Baker was, so that's where this would eliminate that human error and kind of just send a notice to everybody in that area. So that's another benefit of it, but currently we do not have an app like this.
Okay. The only other thing I was going to mention, just in terms of the software on the teacher side of it, or the faculty side of it too, is the training that goes into it.
Yep.
And if they were ready to roll this out in September or something like that, when and how would they implement like a training for it, and even practice or rehearsal using it? Just speaking from experience on having this in the school where I work, in something similar, not from the same topic, but it does require a little bit of practice to be able to use it effectively, and like a 30-minute presentation doesn't quite
Honestly,
make
it looked
effective.
it looked really easy. It
We'd
was
have to
very
use
simple.
the first few days
Yeah, it
of
was.
school to practice.
Yeah, it was very. It didn't look. It was just. We can get you copies of the screen and stuff. It just looked very easy. Just click and you can click on who you want to notify. The other thing is I know that they had wanted to get the contract approved by the school committee, so they can get everything going and start working with BPS to get this ready, get the training ready, and also to get all the locations set up with this app. So by next week, that should be fine. There should be plenty of time to ask them to just do the 3-year, and then we have the option to continue for another 2 years with that same rate. So we'll talk about the wording. They seem pretty reasonable to work with.
Mr. Homer, any,
Yes. Did you need a motion to push the vote
we
on
will,
it for
we
the
will.
next
I
week?
know Kathy, you had something, and Tony had something as well.
I just wanted to make sure that even though yes, safety is our first concern, but this is in fact already in the budget, correct?
Aldo did budget it. It is
Yeah.
in the book.
So I just wanted to make sure that the public knew that this isn't an added expense where we just went through this exercise of taking everything out that we could, that this already exists in the budget as it was presented tonight.
And also in previous budgets, I mean, we've been talking about this since I've been mayor, you know what I mean? Buying, the wands and buying the metal detectors we walk in. These are just other tools that have come to our attention to acquire. Yep. Mr. Rodriguez, please.
Thank you. This is just an added tool. I know myself, Joyce, and our law enforcement, we had a presentation, but prior to us taking this vote, I mean, the presentation was literally like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. If they could actually come back so all the other members can actually see it firsthand,
That'd be great.
how it actually
we
it
can bring
implements.
them It's quick.
It's a real quick presentation, and this tool is just, for the amount of money that we're paying for this, like we said, like the man, Joyce, we can't put a price tag on safety. We've invested a lot throughout the years of making sure our schools are safe, And just to see this technology actually being rolled out, how something can be happening, to the next school, and it's right there in front of the administrator in seconds. I call, it was like advanced AI technology where it's just unbelievable, like this app, how it works. And it's not just police, it's fire. Something's happening in a classroom where that administrator can't get to the phone. It's just a hit of a button. They know something's going on. And every law enforcement officer will have it, so they know in real time what is actually going on at that school. It's just another safety measure. So, if they could be here so everybody could actually see how it's rolled out and how it's awesome.
Anything else, Ms. Rodriguez? Ms. Azak?
I forgot to mention, it's internal and external messaging. So the schools can message, all the employees internally, and the external would be to the police department. And I believe other schools, correct, Superintendent? I believe they can message from school to school?
Yes.
Okay. So, but that is one of the options that they had. But, I mean, they did present before the safety subcommittee. Again, he did it.
Do the demo.
Yeah, the demo was, again, like a 10-minute, it was pretty quick.
Why don't we invite the individual to appear next week? I don't know.
For the specials
Yep.
school
Yeah,
committee?
we'll
Okay.
put it on.
Before our vote, we'd want
We'll
to
put
have a
him-
presentation.
We'll put them first on the agenda.
Okay.
Any other comments at this time relative to this matter? If not, Jared, were you going to make a motion?
I can make a motion to postpone a vote until the next meeting to have the contract rewritten for the 3-year.
It's the form of a motion. Is there a second on that motion?
Second.
I don't know who. Tie goes to the runner. I'm going to go with Kathy on that one. There's a motion on the floor. I was properly second. All in favor, kindly raise your hand. Opposed, raise your hand. It does pass. Thank you. Thank you, Captain. Next
Thank you,
agenda.
Captain.
Huh?
Thanking the captain.
These are old ears. I can't hear. Next agenda item would be Agenda 6, which is new business. Is there any new business before us this evening?
I have something I want to introduce.
Sure.
We have Matt Cunningham in the back. We also have Mr. Bob Hogan. I want him to step over to the microphone. Mr. Hogan? Mr. Hogan actually is going to be the one talking, but Matt, thanks for being here. As you know, they're here late because they spend hours and hours on the musical. So I want Mr. Hogan to let everybody know out there that's watching and us about next week's exciting musical. And Mr. Hogan, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
And Matt.
Thank
for coming.
you. Mr. Cunningham and I just finished a great 4-hour rehearsal in the auditorium. We've been working every day for the past month on this fantastic musical, Mamma Mia. First time we've done it in Brockton, and we're excited about doing this show. It's a huge show. It's going to be a big hit. It's ABBA's greatest songs, and each one just gets better than the next as the show goes on. It's a wonderful, diverse cast of kids that truly represent Brockton at its finest. You're not going to see a kid out there who isn't into the show. I mean, from the students who sing and act and dance to all the kids who work backstage and all the wonderful adults that I get to work with every day. We're just a great collaborative team, and I think that's what we're celebrating here. And I hope the whole community comes out and celebrates with us, because in the finale, unlike a lot of our shows, we encourage people to stand up in the aisles, singing and dancing to Dancing Queen and some of the other great ABBA hits that everybody in the world knows. So please, next Friday night, Saturday night, 7:30 in the auditorium, and Sunday night at 6 o'clock. Every company member has tickets. The main office here at the high school has tickets, but we certainly welcome you at the door as well. Again, 7:30, and 6 o'clock. So, Mamma Mia.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Hogan.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Hogan, in my time as his boss, as the Azure housemaster, I nicknamed him the Bill Belichick of high school musicals, because that's how meticulous he is. He actually tapes the rehearsals and goes through the tapes the next day, like Belichick would, to make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. So he is the Belichick of high school musicals. So thank you, Bob, Matt, and again, thank all the other people that put the time in. We appreciate it.
Thanks for supporting the arts.
Always.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So just FYI, as you remember, opening night last year in the musical, we had the opportunity to name the Carol Thomas and Vinnie Macrina stage. Mike and I that night made a pledge to both Carol and Vinnie that we would have them back once the lettering was installed, give them plenty of time so they could have their family and friends there. Mike and I spoke to Vinnie tonight and Carol tonight. We're not going to do it until after the musical. It's going to happen sometime in early June while people are still around, but just want to let you know that's what they want to do, and we want to honor their requests. Okay?
Thank you.
Um,
One
Yes,
thing, just
yes.
a reminder, we have the 37th Annual Harbor One Fine Art Show going on over at, in the Fine Arts, right in the front entrance. And it was going on tonight, and then I believe on May 4th. It says Tuesday, May 2nd, but I know I've seen May 4th. Oh, wait a second. So it says, was it just tonight, Mr. Rodriguez? Tonight and the 4th? Okay. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and then the award ceremony is 9:30 a.m. in the Little Theater on Thursday. And then just a congratulations to the bilingual department. They celebrated their 50th anniversary. It was a wonderful event. A few of us were able to attend on Saturday. So congratulations to them. And Renee, there's something going on Thursday, Superintendent, correct? Thursday night? The community? I was looking for it, if someone has the info.
Come on down, Renee.
It's May 4th is a busy night. So, and the JROTC dinner is May 4th as well.
Also, may the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you.
Thank you. We're having our quarterly community meeting this Thursday from 5 to 7. We're at 661 Center Street. This is an opportunity for the community and parents to come together with our superintendent, the cabinet, and principals as well. We'll be having a World Cafe, and there'll be a great conversation that will inform what we do in the future. So the last time we had it, I can speak for the cabinet members. It was really informative. It was a great way to be face-to-face with our parents and community instead of, we don't always see them because we're doing other things. And so this was very personal, and we got a chance to get to know folks, and they got to know us. So we're not just the people in the high tower. We're actually people who you can talk to, and their voices are what we always hear when we're making our decisions. So thank you for bringing that up. Ms.
Absolutely. It's always a wonderful event. Is that posted on our Facebook page? I know I saw it somewhere.
I don't know about the Facebook page, but I know the general BPS
BPS website?
As soon as you open it up,
Okay.
it's there.
All right, definitely. It's a great event, a good opportunity for parents to attend and ask questions. So, and that's right across the street from the Brockton Hospital.
And there'll be
the Center Street.
childcare as well. Just wanted to, and some refreshments.
Yes.
So, just to let you know.
So I'll be going to that, and we also have dining out by the JOTC program, and that's happening the same night as well. So that we there after that, so which would be great. Yes. Yep.
Busy
That's
night.
at the VFW on North Quincy.
Any other questions or comments at this time? I'll entertain a motion. Oh, Tony, Mr. Rodriguez.
This afternoon, myself and the superintendent, we had the privilege to attend at West Junior High on the mock trial team from West, which was actually NBC was actually there today, capturing the story with Discovering Justice, and actually spoke to Laura Brennan, who wants to actually expand the program, where the superintendent and his team is going to actually there's a grant that's going to be
Grants funded due on the 12th to expand it to schools. It's an amazing program. The students were incredible, and we had Judge Fentress from the Brockton District Court, who's a Brockton High School graduate. Also, her husband is a wrestling coach. She came and presented to the kids, and Mr. Rodriguez and I were there to hear that. And then we met after with the person that runs the program for the DA's office about the grant and other opportunities for. So we'll be moving forward with that.
Good. That's awesome.
a few months back, myself, Joyce, Mr. Homer, we actually were jurors, which we had South Junior High, East, and West. And, these students actually portray being attorneys and prosecutors and, prosecuting cases. And we had the privilege of being on the jury, given the verdict. So this program, actually today, the session that they had is the appeal process, which they don't have a jury. And the judge was there asking them questions, and they were asking questions of the judge. And just to see these kids, the amount of questions of being an attorney and a prosecutor, and seeing them just at that age, and then actually the program wanting to expand to the younger kids. So it's eye-opening, and I believe we'll be having them on the agenda in the next coming week to actually present it to the full committee so we can get support and roll it out.
I had reached out to Discovering Justice after we attended, and again, it was impressive. 3 different juries. We all served on 3 different juries, and we all had different outcomes, and it was the same case. And these students were so impressive. So the sad part is trying to get the attorneys, because it's a time commitment of, I think, 90 minutes for a few weeks for them to take out of their workday to really meet with the students and go over it. So they had asked, I said, why don't you come and present? Because, all our schools should be taking advantage of this if they could. And the students loved it. And it was fun for us, too, to serve on a jury. But there's a lot of stuff going on in our schools that we need to highlight. And this is one of the positive ones. So, but definitely we should have them in a few weeks.
That's
on
great.
the agenda.
No, we definitely should. Definitely should. Any other questions? Yeah, Mr. Homer.
Just one last thing. I know the Honors Academy programs too, where they're coming up on the time when they're going to be doing their Junior National Honor Society inductions too. So just for families and people that are watching as well too. I mean, if your child has been invited, probably want to make sure that they take advantage of those opportunities to get involved. Like Ms. Asak said, there's a lot of ways to get involved in the school, and this is one of the new things that we can start to celebrate with the kids too.
Absolutely. I'll put my dad hat on, and I agree with that. I definitely agree with that one. Any other comments or questions at this time? If not, I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn at this time. Is there a motion? Motion to adjourn. Motion was made. Is it properly seconded? Seconded by Mr. Sullivan. Was made by Ms. Azak, properly seconded by Mr. Sullivan. All in favor of adjourning? All opposed? It carries. Drive careful. Have a good night.